Part 21. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Benpao de la Chang. Chapter 201. Holy shit, eldest sister, you are so humming crazy. Do you know what you are doing? The son of Karma quickly said, if every great emperor really received a ray of destiny from the immortal realm, then their control would be greatly weakened. Of course I know what I'm doing, why should you teach me how to do it? Tiandao said with a frown. Haha, it's over, we're all crazy, I won't play with you anymore, bye bye. After the son of Karma finished speaking, he left the immortal palace extremely angry. Are you serious? Do you know the consequences of this? Li Bai said slightly surprised. Pervert, stop pretending, don't you know why I did this? Tiandao said slowly. Are you afraid of the catastrophe of the era? Li Bai said slowly. Well, not only that, but also those creatures. Oh, you inherited that memory. Li Bai said curiously. There is only one section, but that section makes me extremely frightened. They are so terrifying that even the first generation of heavenly Dao has no power to resist at all. On the other hand, if you leave the immortal realm in the future, this can be regarded as a kind of protection. After all, there are too many secret eyes staring at the immortal realm. Without exception, they all want to get that thing. This is a way for me to please you. Tiandao sighed and said, in fact, she knew very well that relying on them alone was not enough to survive disasters such as the Outer Territory, Darkness, Nine Heavens, Ancient Clan, and the Great Tribulation of the era. She could only rely on Li Bai. This scene shocked Xuanhuan and the others. It was hard to imagine what kind of creature could make the heavenly realm of the immortal realm helpless. I never thought that the arrogant Tiandao would lower his head one day. Li Bai said with a smile. Humph, if it weren't for the fairyland, I wouldn't be so aggrieved. Tiandao said aggrievedly while holding his mouth. In that case, I promise you. Really? When have I ever regretted it? Hee, that's really great, what a pervert. When Tiandao heard this, he immediately smiled. Bai Yi, if that's the case, let's leave first. After saying that, the girl of destiny and Tiandao also took the first step and left the immortal palace. At this moment, a voice from heaven came from Li Bai's mind. Li Bai, tell me the truth, you can actually kill me, if you don't care about the cost. What's the difference between killing or not killing? You also know that I have no interest in conquering a region. Only that answer is the most important to me. Okay, with your words, I feel relieved. Afterwards, the Void Emperor and others also retired first. They needed to be fully prepared. Oh, this road is really difficult to walk. Li Bai stared at the empty immortal palace and sighed slowly. More than 10 days later. At this moment, countless creatures in the 10 immortal realms have fallen into complete panic. Because a piece of news leaked out from countless imperial clans. The outer realm is about to attack the immortal realm. Moreover, this news has been personally affirmed by dozens of great emperors. Of course, these emperors did not reveal the ancient tribes and other creatures behind the outer realm. An attack from the outer realm on the immortal realm can cause people to panic. If these races are added to the mix, the terror will cause a huge commotion. At this time, voices of discussion arose from all over the immortal realm. Damn it, is it true? Why does it feel so sudden and there are no signs at all? Nonsense, countless great emperors have confirmed it. Besides, what sign do you want? Do you think they have to attack the mainland in order to believe it? How do they have the guts in Outland? I heard that there are other races behind them. Why panic? They couldn't break through before, and it's the same this time. Not to mention that this time, we have a big daddy. Yes, we still have that big daddy. At this moment, in the Xuanhuan family, countless Xuanhuan guards are recuperating and getting ready to go. They have started preparing since Emperor Xuanhuan returned from the Immortal Palace that day. "Dad, is this news true?" Xuanhuan Minjiao asked anxiously. "Of course," the adult said it himself. "Do you think it will be false?" "Then we're going to." Xuanhuan Minjiao said firmly. "Huh? Minjiao, are you stupid in your cultivation? What's the use of a saint like you? This is a battle between two realms. Even the emperor dare not say that he will be able to protect himself successfully." Emperor Xuanhuan said with his eyes widened. "Contribute to the immortal realm. Besides, they will definitely have saints and geniuses in the outer realm. Why can't we go? No, this is too dangerous. This is not a child's play. If you don't pay attention, you will die." Emperor Xuanhuan shook his head firmly. She was just a daughter, how could she be allowed to put herself in danger? "Humph, if you don't agree, I'll beg you." "You." At this moment, Li Bai slowly appeared in front of Emperor Xuanhuan. "Little prince, if Minjiao wants to go, let her go. Grown-ups. Grown-ups. But, sir, Minjiao is just a saint. I'm afraid." "Don't worry, I will give them something to save their lives. Besides, the geniuses of the immortal realm also need to be baptized with blood. Otherwise, how will you deal with the great catastrophe of the era in the next 9 days?" Li Bai said slowly. "Since the adults have said so, well then." In the end, Emperor Xuanhuan had no choice but to agree. Yes, thank you sir." Xuanhuan Minjiao said excitedly. At this moment, in the square of the Xuanhuan family, Jun Wuodao, Zhang Changkan, Lin Di, and other talented people appeared here together. "Huh? Why are you here?" Xuanhuan Minjiao, Shuiyi, Luo Miao Miao, and King Kaiu Susu said in confusion when they saw Jun Wuodao and others. "Minjiao, we have decided that this time, we will also participate in this war. If we can kill a saint, it is won. This time, we are here to ask you what you think." Emperor Lin said slowly. "Not bad, you are very courageous. Don't worry, I have convinced my dad just now, I will join too. He, there are still us." The 3 girls of King Kaiu Susu said with a smile. "You are the King Kaiu clan." Jun Wuodao said doubtfully. "Why, are you looking down on us?" King Kaiu Susu puffed her mouth and said. "Jun Wuodao, don't underestimate Susu and the others, they are real quasi-emperors." Xuanhuan Minjiao said slowly. "Oh, quasi-emperor, that's okay, wait, quasi-emperor." Lindy's voice immediately increased by many decibels. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 202. These 3 little foxes are actually quasi-emperors, what's wrong with this world? Quasi-emperors, how is this possible? It seems that they are the same age as us. Just as the Tianjiao were discussing fiercely. Boom. Boom. At this moment, the 10 immortal realms suddenly shook like an earthquake. At this moment, the sky of the 10 immortal realms continued to tremble with piercing horns, and at the same time, there was an ancient and vicissitudes of life voice. "Please all emperors and families, quickly go to the eternal barrier." Hearing this voice, countless creatures were shocked. They knew that the outside world was about to start attacking. Kangtian Immortal Realm, obey the order, kill all outsiders. Qingtian Immortal Realm, obey the order, kill all outsiders. Huangtian Immortal Realm, obey the order, kill all outsiders. At this moment, a magnificent voice came from the ancestral land of the Xuanhuan family. "Xuanhuan guards, all those who participated in the war, follow me to the eternal barrier." Yes, the ancestor of the human emperor. The vast Xuanhuan guards turned into a black fog that covered the sky and rushed into the sky, piercing the clouds with momentum and rushing straight into the bright sun. Afterwards, Emperor Xuanhuan once again said to the entire Kangtian immortal realm, "All the people in Kangtian immortal realm, follow me to the first stronghold of the eternal wall, and swear to defend the safety of the immortal realm to the death. Jun family, Jun Wuodao, obey your order. Zhang family, Zhang Sheng, obey your order. Yehua divine dynasty, Yehua, obey your order. Ancient dragon clan, obey your order." Afterwards, countless divine lights rose to the sky from all over Kangtian immortal realm, following Emperor Xuanhuan to the first stronghold of the eternal wall. At this moment, the number of these people has reached hundreds of millions, and this is only the creatures of the imperial clan and first-class forces, not counting those casual cultivators and other forces. At this moment, the sky of Kangtian immortal realm is full of dense black shadows, like a black tide. Various, fairy beasts, and alien species emerge in endlessly. At the same time, the major families also activated the family protection formation at the same time to prevent those scumbags from taking advantage of the chaos to attack. After all, human nature is the most unpredictable. Some creatures just like this kind of turmoil. I'm so excited, I want to join, for the fairyland. Every man has a share of responsibility for the rise and fall of the world. I, the quasi-emperor of casual cultivation, am here. I, the immortal old man, will join the war for all the creatures in the fairyland. Brothers, go ahead, kill these bastards from the outside world and rob their wives. I really appreciate your reason. Then, the number of the entire team continued to grow, and it was extremely spectacular. Xuanhuan Renhuang waved his hand, and a huge crack slowly appeared. Go. Yes, the myth of the Renhuang. At the same time, countless creatures in the Kangtian fairyland kept kneeling and praying. My lords, you must win. At the same time, in the fairyland, countless hidden caves, under the ground, were also shaking, and old men covered in mud broke out of the ground one by one. Haha, you are really unwilling to give up, but I will fight with my old bones again. At the same time, in the deep space of the universe, emperors woke up from their coffins one by one, and their auras shook the universe, stirring up waves of cosmic storms. That's right, there are more than 78 emperors in the fairyland, most of whom have fallen into a deep sleep. They will only wake up when their own forces or the fairyland are caught in a war. This includes the emperors and ancestors of the Jun family, the Zhang family, and other forces. Outside the world, you are looking for death, and you dare to covet our fairyland. Haha, this old man's sword will be stained with blood again. The fairyland cannot be shaken. I, Jun Shui, will kill all invaders. This scene is constantly staged in various places in the 10 fairylands. What they protect is not only the fairyland, but also their relatives, lovers, descendants, and billions of lives behind them. Countless creatures were so excited that their blood boiled, and they joined in, hoping to do their part. Okay, let's go too. It's a good opportunity to meet those geniuses from the outside world. Jun Wuodao's eyes were full of murderous intent. Hee, let's see who kills more. Zhang Chang'an said with a sneer. Come on, who's afraid of who? Then, these young generations also embarked on the journey. At the same time, the battle between the two worlds was also watched by countless other creatures. In the Eternal Era, finally, another war broke out between the two worlds. The immortal realm is in danger. You must know that this time, there are 3 primordial races behind the outer realm. That's wrong. Don't forget the biggest anomaly. You mean, Li Bai? Yes, with him, the outcome is unpredictable. At this moment, outside an extremely majestic high wall at the Eternal Barrier, a chaos green lotus that connects the universe is shining brightly, constantly blocking the countless creatures from the outer realm. This is exactly one of the three weakest places in the eternal barrier. However, this time Li Bai guessed wrong. The outer realm actually gathered at the first stronghold, and no one cared about the other two strongholds. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, no matter what, you must defend it for me, and don't let them cross the skyfall and wait for the reinforcements from the immortal realm, understand? A quasi-emperor who has guarded the eternal wall for generations roared. Yes, sir, we will defend it to the death. At this time, the imperial clans stationed here kept blowing the horns and constantly mobilized the army to the front line. They must not let the outside world cross the sky and break through the Chaos Green Lotus, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. At this moment, these imperial clan armies have been killed by the creatures of the outside world and retreated to the sky. There are corpses and blood everywhere. There is no way, their number is too small. Damn it, I didn't expect that they would all gather together. A quasi-emperor touched the blood at the corner of his mouth and said angrily. We must hold on, reinforcements are coming soon. Damn it, kill them all for me. Kill, kill, kill. Boom. Boom. Screams and explosions continued to sound in front of the sky. Haha, give up struggling. When we cross this skyfall and break this Chaos Green Lotus, you will only die more miserably. A quasi-emperor from the foreign domain said coldly. You, a bunch of idiots, come on, do you think I'm afraid? In that case, then go to hell. At this moment, the quasi-emperor of the immortal domain was already at his wit's end. Looking at the opponent's killing move, he smiled miserably and said, I will protect the immortal domain without regrets. Then, the quasi-emperor was ready to self-destruct and drag the quasi-emperor from the foreign domain to hell together. Kangtian immortal domain, come to protect. Qingtian immortal domain, come to protect. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 203. At this moment, the Xuanhuan Emperor, the great Emperor of Nothingness, and the Emperor of Time finally arrived here. They received the news from Li Bai immediately, and they all changed their routes and came to the first stronghold. Fortunately, it was not too late. Later, this quasi-emperor was rescued by Xuanhuan Human Emperor. You are very good. Renhuang Xuanhuan said with appreciation. He, thank you Emperor Xinhui for your compliments, we will defend this line of defense to the death. The quasi-emperor said respectfully. Leave it to us. No, mythology of the human emperor, I can still fight. As long as the blood is not shed, I can fight to the end. After seeing human Emperor Xuanhuan and the others appearing, the outer territory also stopped. They were not in a hurry, because as long as they killed Emperor Xuanhuan and the others, it could be said that the immortal territory would have taken over half of it. As time goes by, the emperors, armies, etc. from both sides have basically been assembled. At this moment, on both sides of the sky pendant, there are countless creatures as far as the eye can see. They are so densely packed that the chilling wind keeps blowing on everyone, and the air is filled with all kinds of murderous intentions. Inside the eternal barrier, countless immortal creatures came over to cheer, shouting the names of these immortal emperors. Immediately, the great emperors and quasi-emperors from both sides slowly stepped into the chaotic area above the starry sky. This was their ultimate battlefield. At this moment, hundreds of great emperors were confronting each other. Endless imperial power swept across the entire vast universe. Countless terrifying visions appeared, causing the heavens to shake. Stars were annihilated one after another, and the dark void boiled. This kind of scene is difficult to describe in words. Even some great emperors will have difficulty witnessing such magnificent scenes in their lifetime. Haha, outland dog thieves, are you really determined to give up? The Void Emperor said with a sneer, his tone was chilling, and the void behind him kept twisting. Haha, it's time to settle the billions of years of grudges between our two realms. A mythical emperor from the outer realm replied. Oh, why, last time, 20 great emperors died in our fairyland, don't you have a long memory? Human Emperor Xuanhuan said with a sneer. So what? This time, we will definitely destroy your fairyland. The second mythical emperor from the outside world said indifferently. At this moment, a great emperor discovered King Xuanhuan and the others. King Xuanhuan, you, actually betrayed Outland. The great emperor said angrily. Betrayal? This is such a big label. We have never admitted that we are from the outside world. We were in the past, and we are even more so now. King Xuanhuan said coldly, they have never had any good impressions of Outland from the beginning to the end. Did you rescue them? A mythical emperor asked slowly. What's the problem? How brave, but it's a pity that even if you have 3 more immortal emperors, it will only be a drop in the bucket. The mythical emperor said slowly, indeed, the 3 immortal emperors are like ants to the power behind them. Damn it, you bunch of old men, how can you be so good at forcing me? If you want to fight, I'll fight you. What are you trying to force me to do? Dewan couldn't help it anymore and barked like a dog. Rhubarb, calm down. Nanyi on the side stopped him immediately. Damn dog, you are looking for death. Wait a moment, and I will eat your dog meat as soon as possible. A fiery-tempered stranger from the outer realm roared angrily. Damn it, come on, watch this dog emperor, I won't bite your balls off. Don't those creatures behind you show up? Or do they only dare to hide in the dark? The Emperor of Nothingness stared at the Emperor of Outland Myths and asked slowly. Haha, you don't need those adults for this kind of scene, we are enough. The mythical Emperor of the Outer Realm said slowly. The reason they didn't show up was because of me, right? At this moment, a voice slowly spread throughout the vast universe, and countless creatures hiding in the darkness were suddenly shocked. This voice, yes, I will never forget it, it's that person. He's awake. At present, it seems that it should be. Then, a white-clothed figure slowly appeared in front of the emperors of the immortal realm. He was aloof, untouched by cause and effect, without destiny, just like the Lord of Emperors. Let's meet your Lord. Let's meet your Lord. The emperors of the immortal realm said respectfully. After seeing this figure and Li Bai's familiar face, the mythical emperor of the outer world suddenly lost his composure. He stared at Li Bai word by word, with murderous intent in his tone. Li Bai, ye. Sure enough, you showed up. Why, are you surprised that I showed up? You should know that the immortal realm is protected by me, right? Li Bai asked lightly. Ha ha ha, so what, Li Bai, this time, your opponent is not us. A mythical emperor from the outer realm said with a smile, his eyes filled with endless anger, everything Li Bai did in the immortal realm, they will never forget. I am not a good person at all. If someone angers me, it will take endless blood to appease my heart. Do you want to die? Li Bai stared at these foreign emperors and said faintly. Although Li Bai's tone was unusually calm, for some reason, the aura of death in their hearts was getting stronger and stronger. Just a little bit of threat, these emperors instantly felt like they were falling into an abyss, unable to extricate themselves. Ancient clan, spirit clan, Ming clan, why, after seeing me appear, you still don't show up, isn't this too rude? Li Bai turned his head again and said to the vast universe. After a long time, a voice came. Li Bai, you deserve to die. Stop, you have said this sentence countless times, are you annoying? Li Bai said helplessly, can you say something new, every time you meet, you say this. However, this time, they did not answer, as if they had disappeared secretly. Forget it, then I will wait for you to show up, old friends. After speaking, Li Bai's figure slowly disappeared into the void. At their level, they had no interest in the battle of the Void Emperor and others. At this time, a sigh came from the outside world. Alas, immortal realm, give up, even with Li Bai, you can't stop it? An old man slowly appeared in front of the emperors of the outside world. The moment the old man appeared, the Emperor of Nothingness, the Emperor of Xuanhuan, and the Emperor of Time condensed their eyes and said in unison. Half a step, Supreme. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 204. Oh, that's right. You couldn't even defeat our original sin era at that time. Where did you get the courage? Who gave it to you? At this time, the old man of original sin who had been hiding in the void couldn't bear to appear after seeing the appearance of the half-step supreme. Original sin? I didn't expect that the three of you survived. Not only that, your realm has actually improved. This half-step master, his pupils shrank, and he recognized the identity of the old man of original sin at a glance. After all, this aura of original sin was so familiar to him, so familiar that it was engraved in his bones. They had fought countless times in that era, but it was hard to tell the winner. Haha, aren't you talking nonsense? You're not dead, so how can we die? That's right. That's right. If I remember correctly, you should have been killed by that person at that time. Unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, you were still helping that person and helping the immortal realm. This is not in line with your character. Weoban Bugwei said with confusion. In his impression, the old man of original sin was the kind of person who would seek retribution. Not to mention that Li Bai also destroyed their original sin era. They could actually swallow this breath. They were like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. No matter what, the immortal realm is always our territory, no matter who it belongs to, or us. The immortal realm is not something outsiders like you can overstep. The old man of original sin stared at Banbu Supreme and said firmly, even if this place has gone through countless iterations and updates, it will always be their territory. Who controls it in the end does not seem so important. Humph, you thief from the outside world, give me your life. You bastards are looking for death. I'll blow you up to death. You still dare to attack our fairyland? I'm afraid you don't think enough of them died, right? At this moment, in the distant deep space universe, curses resounded throughout the world, and cosmic dust continued to surge, and wisps of light dispersed the heavy darkness, just like the light of dawn. 12 figures broke through the void of hundreds of millions of miles and slowly appeared in front of the emperors of the immortal realm. There were men and women. The imperial power exuded by each of them could shock the 9 heavens and shake the world. Among them, the worst ones are half-step myths, while the highest ones are half-step supreme. Ancestor Jun Wuodeo, the great emperor of the Jun family, said in surprise after seeing his ancestor. Emperor Zhengxiu? Yes, the peerless empress of the Jun family, half a step into the myth. His, also, the one from the immortal clan, the immortal emperor of the heavens, is also half a legend. That old man, can't be. That's right, the one who has the end and the beginning is the half-step supreme in our fairyland. Damn it, when did these old guys show up? There are 12 of them in total, 2 of them are myths, 1 is half-step supreme, and the rest are all half-steps of myth. De Wang said with widened dog eyes. Haha, De Wang, you are too underestimated of the foundation of our fairyland. The Emperor of Nothingness said with a smile. It seems that this battle has awakened these old antiques that have been sleeping for a long time. The Emperor of Time said slowly. They should have woken up after feeling the breath of the outside world. Otherwise, ordinary fighting would not be enough to wake them up. After all, Every time they wake up, it will cost a huge price. Then, the emperors of the immortal realm respectfully shouted to the 12 great emperors. Senior descendant of immortal realm, greetings, senior. At this moment, Emperor Zhengxiu is wearing a white fairy dress. Her temperament is like a Tianshan snow lotus. She is holy but extremely cold. There is a snow lotus mark printed on her beautiful face, giving people the feeling that she is a peerless empress who should not be approached by strangers. Emperor Zhengxiu just nodded after seeing the emperors. Xuanhuan could only smile helplessly. The temper of this ancestor of Zhengxiu is still as cold as ever, even after several epochs have passed. He really deserves her name. Ha 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 ha, I didn't expect that my old man, who is almost buried, can still beat a rat or a dog. How happy, how happy. Old man Xuanhuan, I'm so happy to finally see you. You're not dead yet. At this time, the half-step supreme from the outer realm stared at the half-step supreme from the immortal realm and spoke slowly. Ha ha ha, you don't have any dog coins, how can I? What do you think, Xuanhuan, throw away the money. Emperor Xuanhuan said with a smile, his mouth full of swear words, and he also inadvertently revealed the true name of Outland Half-Step Supreme. Haha, you are just like the 3 original sins, I feel disgusted. Outland Half-Step Supreme said in a calm tone. Damn it, I like this old man, it suits my Dawang taste. Dawang licked the dog's face and said excitedly. Unfortunately, even so, you still have no chance of winning. You have no idea how powerful this force behind me is, and I have no choice but to do it. When Xuanhuan heard this, he didn't feel any emotion at all. After all, he and Zhongyan had known each other for a long time. It doesn't matter, as long as I can kill you, it's enough. Leave the rest to those creatures. At this time, something unexpected happened suddenly. A crack was torn in the void, and in an instant, dozens of figures emerged from it. They were all long-sleeping creatures in the outer realm. The ones with the lowest realm were all half-step myths. The oldest one among them could even be traced back to the middle of the Taishu era. Among them, the breath exuded by the leading man made the emperors feel extremely nervous, as if they had returned to the beginning of the world and were like ants. This is supreme. Xuanhuan said with a very gloomy face. This matter was beyond their expectations. They did not expect that the Supreme would actually wake up in this era. You know, if such a Supreme fell into a deep sleep, the price it would cost to wake up again would be much heavier than theirs. I didn't expect that he could still be alive. The original sin old man's eyes condensed and said with a little fear. Yes, a living Supreme, no one knows how terrible it is. The Emperor of the End said with a very solemn face. We greet, Xiantian Supreme. We greet, Xiantian Supreme. The emperors of the foreign domain said to the leading man with great enthusiasm. Yes, he is the only Supreme in the foreign domain, the real Supreme. What is Supreme? Eternal lifespan, not tainted by cause and effect, peeping into the future, this is Supreme. Humph, immortal domain. Xiantian Supreme spoke faintly, his tone full of calmness. In an instant, the entire vast universe trembled continuously, even the immortal domain itself was like this. The earth broke, the sacred mountain collapsed, the magma surged like a river, and the eternal barrier continued to emit a faint light to resist this supreme power. With just one sentence, the laws of the universe could not bear it, and the immortal domain emperor spurted out a mouthful of blood unconsciously. They had already used all their strength to resist this invisible power, but it was still useless. With just a wisp of breath leaking out, the emperors of the immortal domain had reached their limit. The gap between the two was not even a dimension. This is the supreme power. One word and one action can determine the change and destruction of a world. As for why he did not directly kill the emperors of the immortal domain, It was naturally because of Li Bai's existence, and he did not dare to act easily. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 205. This is the supreme power. Too horrible, myths are just like ants in front of such existence. The Void Emperor said bitterly. As expected, the Supreme. The Time Emperor wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said solemnly. Afterwards, the Supreme looked at the eternal chaos green lotus, frowned slightly, a trace of disgust flashed in his eyes, and then lightly tapped his fingertips. Instant beauty, the world withered. A supreme force directly tore the chaos green lotus into powder. At this moment, the emperors of the immortal realm also wanted to stop it, but they couldn't stop it at all. Even if they all joined together, they might not be able to stop the power of this supreme move. And, perhaps they would pay the price of their lives. This scene made countless creatures in the immortal realm feel as painful as being bitten by thousands of ants. How could it be? It's broken just now, the chaos green lotus that a part of the Green Emperor's body turned into actually. How is this possible? That's the Green Emperor, an existence that has been on the Eternal Emperor list. Can our immortal realm really resist such an existence? Buzz. 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 The next moment, a green lotus seed flew into the air, and countless chaos green lotuses once again spread to the entire eternal barrier, constantly filling the entire gap, and the chaos auras surged out from the vast universe to bless it. Then, a creature dressed in green, with a beautiful face, who looked like a man or a woman, slowly appeared. It was the Green Emperor's phantom. Outer realm, you passed. The Green Emperor stared at the Supreme and said calmly. He, Green Emperor, you were only infinitely close to the Supreme when you were alive, and you haven't taken that step yet. What's more, you are just a phantom now. Do you think you can stop us? It's no exaggeration to say that I can destroy you now with my hand. The Supreme of the Outer Realm said lightly, his words were filled with unparalleled divine power, as if the fairyland could be broken with a snap of a finger. After all, when you reach the Supreme, this realm has completely opened up the gap with the Myth Emperor, not only the gap in realm, but also the gap in life level. With one move, the Supreme can destroy the entire fairyland, not one of the 10 fairylands. You can try it, my Qing Emperor, even if there is only a phantom, can I resist you? The Qing Emperor's face was still as calm as water, with his back to the creatures of the fairyland. Even if he faced a Supreme, he was never afraid. After all, he had seen and fought before. And countless human beings, after seeing the back of the Qing Emperor, tears flashed. This is the Qing Emperor that their human race believes in. Even if it is just a phantom, he will do his best to protect the creatures of the fairyland. Just when the situation was in dire straits, Li Bai's words broke through the layers of void and spread into the entire vast universe. What the hell are you barking about? Supreme. Haha, in my opinion, you are nothing more than an ant. No, strictly speaking, you are just a slightly larger ant. The words were full of disdain and ridicule, as if the Supreme was in Li Bai's hands and could be rubbed at will. Then, before the emperors could react, a sword light that was so ordinary that it was inconspicuous came from nowhere and went straight to the Supreme in the outer domain. Swish. Suddenly, Xiantian Supreme was sweating profusely. Obviously, this sword light was very ordinary, without any sword intent, and did not have the power to destroy the heavens and the worlds, but it made him feel that he seemed unable to stop it. No matter how he used any taboo moves, it was useless. Help! At the critical moment, another inexplicable force directly offset Li Bai's sword light, and then, a faint voice resounded through the vast universe, like the sound of a god. Li Bai, it's not our turn yet, don't cross the rules. Hearing this, Li Bai couldn't help laughing. Haha, rules. You are talking to me about rules, are you qualified? I, Li Bai, have traveled through the heavens and the worlds. When have I ever followed the rules? I am the creature that makes the rules. And that rule is your shackles. It is useless to me, Li Bai. Li Bai's words were a little cold at this point. Even so, you are still not those origin creatures. On this road, you are like a headless fly, pathetic, lamentable, and pitiful. The faint voice came again. Hearing this, Li Bai's face completely lost any expression. No creature can criticize and evaluate my road. At least, I dare to explore, and you are the darkness living in the dark cracks, and you can't see the light. You know, you never dare to face them, and can only choose to escape blindly. And I, Li Bai, am your only salvation. I, Li Bai, am the true origin. Do you know? Boom. This sentence, like the presence of the Creator himself, spread throughout the vast universe, constantly exploding, spreading to the minds of countless creatures, buzzing. This is also the first time that Li Bai has spoken his thoughts without reservation. It takes so much courage to dare to say this to the ancient clan and those creatures. My lord, awesome. My master, awesome, scold them to death, let them pretend to be awesome. As expected, my lord, forgive me for my lack of culture, I can only use a word of F***ck to express my surprise. This, is the man who has been arbitrary and pierced the darkness in my impression. The Qing Emperor's face finally became no longer calm, as if he had returned to that glorious era, the era when he followed Li Bai to kill through the ages. This is the character of that person, he is worthy of being the man I admire, so handsome. Xuanhuan listened to these words, and her eyes showed an obsession and admiration, almost turning into the shape of Li Bai. And all the emperors of the fairyland were like chicken blood, exuding a tremendous momentum, and their eyes were red. This is the belief of all the emperors, and this is the only savior of their fairyland from beginning to end. Master, this is your true face, isn't it? Nan Yi said with a red face. At this moment, all the eyes hiding in the dark and peeping also unconsciously flashed a sense of helplessness. Haha, we all underestimated him. From the beginning to the end, Li Bai did not show his full strength. As expected, he is the anomaly in the mouths of those creatures. Terrible, terrible, really terrible. Good, 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 good Li Bai, what a true origin, ah, if I can have your will, I won't have to worry about taking that step. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 206. In the small world of fairyland. Sister Destiny, I seem to gradually understand why you are so obsessed with Li Bai. If I were also a female creature, I would probably be willing to sink into it. It's really amazing. The son of Karma said with envy, Li Bai lived like countless male creatures, just like they dreamed of. Humph, how can the man I like be so bad? The girl of destiny said proudly. At this moment, even Tiandao on the side had an inexplicable emotion in his eyes. This time, the creatures of the ancient tribe had their heads buzzing. After hearing what Li Bai said, they fell silent again. They were also very angry and wanted to refute, but they still didn't know how to answer this question. It is true that on this road of resistance, they are not as good as Li Bai. To be precise, they are still far behind Li Bai. They and Li Bai fell in love and killed each other, and they didn't know how many epochs it would take before they all melted away. On the other side, after seeing the fearful look on his emperor's face, Xiantian Supreme couldn't let Li Bai talk anymore, otherwise, the Taoist mind would be unstable before the fight even started. Li Bai, Yi. Humph, you are not ashamed of your words. You claim to be the salvation of the ancient tribe, but you still can't defeat those creatures. If you really have the ability to complete this road, why bother to pursue those things? If you really have the ability, then kill me. Xuanhuan said contemptuously. Kill you, haha, I'm sorry, you are too weak, so weak that I have no interest at all. I'm afraid of getting my hands dirty, but since you said so, if I don't kill you, wouldn't I be sorry for your begging? Old bald ass, kill him, and you don't have to pay back what you owe me. Li Bai's voice came again. Donor Li, are you serious about this? Then, in this vast universe, an extremely majestic and solemn voice was heard. In your words, monks don't lie. Okay, Donor Li, I hope you won't go back on your word or try to deceive me. Amitabha. Boom. In an instant, the entire vast universe was shrouded in golden Buddha light. The entire universe was dyed with a layer of golden light. It was solemn, sacred, and solemn. It made people feel like they had stepped into the Buddha's kingdom, and they unconsciously wanted to worship. Countless obscure Buddhist texts slowly appeared in the vast universe. When the Buddha's light enveloped the creatures in the outside world, wisps of black smoke continued to emerge from them. Ah! What is this? Humph, the great sun Tathagata. Xuanhuan's face was gloomy and his brows were furrowed. Then, with a wave of his hand, he directly blocked the wisps of golden Buddha light. This allowed these outside creatures to breathe. The outer realm is also called the realm of filth. It was the birthplace of filth in the early days. Anyone who lives in the outer realm will have countless strands of filthy power in their body. And the pure and annihilating Buddha light of the Buddhist kingdom has a natural restraint effect on this kind of filthy power. Then, a golden figure hundreds of thousands of feet tall appeared slowly, with a solemn expression, sitting cross-legged on the lotus of karma fire, like a god and Buddha who endured all things in the world, making people unconsciously feel a sense of awe. Behind you, a sea of suffering slowly emerges. This is the real sea of suffering. There are thousands of living beings in it, constantly struggling ups and downs. If living beings do not cross the sea of suffering, they will turn back and not fall in love with the mortal world. This is a sentence that countless people in the Buddhist country believe in. This human figure is none other than the great Sun Tathagata Buddha of the Buddhist country, one of the three great Buddhas, and also the Supreme One. The boundless sea of suffering, the lotus of fire of karma, this is, the Tathagata of the great Sun. The old man of original sin said in surprise. I didn't expect that the Supreme Being from the Buddhist kingdom would also appear. The same is true for old man Xuanhuan. After all, there is no grudge between the immortal realm and the Buddhist kingdom, and the two realms are almost never in contact. As expected of that adult, you can even pull over other beings. Haha, if anyone in the universe has such ability, I'm afraid only Li Bai is the only one. One person is a world. The flush on Xuanhuan's face at this moment is even more charming. Hey, Xiao Xuexiu, why are you blushing? Hee, do you want to? Shut your mouth. No, I don't mind turning you into an ice sculpture and freezing you forever. Xuanhuan said coldly. Holy shit, bald donkey, it's that big bald donkey, damn, at that time, this dog emperor was suppressed directly under Mount Sumeru by a wisp of his clone. De Wang said in horror. Every time he heard about this incident, De Wang felt extremely frightened. If Li Bai hadn't come to help, he, the dog emperor, would probably be a mummy. Shut up, damn De Wang, what are you yelling about? Who told you to be a bitch and go to someone else's Buddhist country to hook up with someone else's nun? They are just suppressing you for the sake of master. Otherwise, you would have been saved long ago. Nanyi immediately held De Wang's dog's mouth. Woof, woof. Humph, great Sun Tathagata, if you don't stay well in your Buddhist country, why are you here? Xuanhuan said gloomily. Amitabha, our Buddhist country attaches great importance to cause and effect. To me, Donor Li is the cause, and I am the effect. Therefore, I have to come, and this period of cause and effect must also be eliminated. Please understand, benefactor. Dri Tathagata said solemnly with his hands pressed. Haha, why are you bald donkeys pretending? Don't think I don't know. You are just afraid of Li Bai, so you are so hypocritical. Also, you bald donkey are the supreme, and there is still a fart of cause and effect. Wushang said sarcastically. Ba, benefactor, if you really think so, then I will suppress you with Sumuru. Dri Tathagata's expression is still solemn. Oh, in this case, then don't talk nonsense. Outside creatures, attack, today we will destroy the fairyland. Xiantian Wushang burst out with endless murderous intent. Fairyland creatures, accept the challenge. King Di was also unwilling to be outdone, shouting to the creatures in the fairyland, this battle is related to the survival of the two domains, and it must not be lost. Kill, kill, kill. Boom. After the two orders were given, the armies of the outer realm and the fairy realm immediately began to fight, which also indicated that the war between the two realms had officially begun. You bastard, I'm going to kill you, go eat shit. You ants from the fairy realm, you must be destroyed. Boom. Boom. At this moment, in the vast universe, there were only the deafening sounds of fighting, screams, and the sound of blood flowing. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 207. Then, all the emperors burst out their terrifying imperial power and prepared for this unprecedented battle. Come on, next, it's finally our turn to take action. Haha, I have not stained the dirty blood of the outside world for a long time with the divine bow I hold. The eyes of Emperor Yi were filled with blazing fire, as bright as the sun. We, the Holy Spirit lineage, haven't been active for a long time. The Qin Emperor sat on a cloud of immortals, stroking the ancient zither in his hand, and his words were full of murderous intent. Hee, I can't wait any longer, I'll go first. Then, countless small worlds slowly opened, and the emperors of the two domains were also caught in the fight at this moment. Ancestor Jun Shui, the younger generation Jun Wuodao is here to help. Jun Wuodao shouted to Jun Shui. No need, I can do it alone, you go find someone else to play with. Jun Shui refused Jun Wuodao's request. As one of the ancestors of the Jun family, how could he need the help of his younger generation? Okay. After Jun Wuodao finished speaking helplessly, he went to help De Huang and the others. Hey, this is the opponent that De Huang has set his sights on, old man Jun, what are you doing? Really? It's mine now. I finally saw a soft persimmon, old man Jun, I'll bite you to death. A moment later, the battle among the emperors began. A bright moon rises over the sea. A sword that kills the sky, it seems that I'm going to kill you bastards. The yellow spring, the end. Star secret art, hold the sun and the moon in your hands and pick the stars. Chaos green lotus art. Countless extremely terrifying emperor arts emerged one after another, and the dazzling light pierced through the darkness and reached the depths of the universe, accompanied by the emergence of hundreds of emperor weapons. The status exuded by these hundreds of emperor weapons alone is enough to wipe out an emperor. This scene is far more magnificent than the Battle of the Emperor's Fall that year. Elsewhere, the Emperor Chongtong also found his opponent, a myth emperor who had already touched the threshold of the half-step supreme. Although they had just touched it and had not yet reached the half-step supreme, they had already formed a huge gap with the myth emperor, but they were still collectively called the myth emperor. Only when one foot really stepped into that step could it be called the half-step supreme. The Emperor Chongtong also wanted to complete the feat of the first generation at this moment, to fight back with the myth and kill the half-step supreme. Today is the beginning. Damn, Chongtong, are you sure you want to choose such a great emperor? If you choose a myth emperor, then I have no worries. After all, you have killed a myth with a half-step myth before the ancient times. Although that myth is no longer at the peak, it is a genuine myth anyway. But, this myth emperor is different. The anxious voice of the Void Emperor rang in the mind of the Emperor Chongtong. Haha, of course, I want to let the heavens and the worlds know that the first generation of double pupils is invincible, and so am I. Okay, then you be careful, if you can't win, remember to escape in time, your life is important. The Void Emperor also knew the character of the double pupil emperor, and only left a warning. Double pupils. Haha, I didn't expect that such a talent would be passed down, it's really unfair. A ray of fear flashed in the eyes of this foreign myth. And this ray of fear was also captured by the double pupil emperor in an instant. Are you afraid? The double pupil emperor asked curiously. Yes, I am indeed afraid, but the source of fear is not you, but the first generation. Have you seen the first generation of double pupils? The double pupil emperor said in surprise. The outer myth seemed to be lost in memories, and continued to mutter to himself. When we were still the great emperor, I was defeated by the first generation by chance. After that, I challenged the first generation countless times, wanting to defeat him, but the result was always failure, and it was a complete failure. From then on, he became the source of my fear. To this day, since the Chaos era, he has been haunting me like a nightmare. I also know that my talent is not as good as his, but I also want to tear this nightmare apart with my own hands, but, it's a pity that I didn't see him for the last time. When the outer myth said this, the Emperor of Double Pupils could actually feel the kind of desolate meaning emanating from him. What a pity, you are not him. Change your opponent. I don't want to kill you. I have also heard of your record. It is really good to kill a myth that is about to die with a half-step myth, but it is far from enough for me. My goal is only the first generation, and, I don't believe he will fall. The foreign myth said slowly. What is your honorific name, Senior? My name is, Jimmy. Senior Jimmy, I don't need your pity. The first generation can become your nightmare, and I am still the same, and I will be more afraid. The Emperor of Chongtong said calmly, without any fear in his words. Are you sure? Jimmy glanced at the Emperor of Chongtong deeply, as if he didn't understand why he had to do such a meaningless thing with no chance of winning. Please, Senior, please teach me. I can bear all the consequences. The Emperor of Chongtong clasped his fists and bowed slightly, like a junior asking for advice from a senior. Okay, then let me see how invincible you, this double pupil, are. I hope you won't disappoint me too much. Great prisoner of heaven. The Outer Realm Emperor waved his hand casually, and in an instant, a cage that could imprison the heaven and earth and any living being slowly appeared in the universe. In the cage, countless strands of destructive thunder, as thick as purple gold beams across the sea and as white jade pillars supporting the sky, overturned the rivers and seas and bombarded down. Even the punishment of the heavens was slightly inferior to this destructive thunder. Afterwards, the raging flames that burned the world, like a red dark wave, devoured everything, and all kinds of extremely terrifying visions intertwined. Great prisoner of heaven is worthy of being one of the 10 great secret arts of the outer realm. Let me try the power of this secret art, the double pupil robbery light. The double pupil emperor looked at the scene in front of him and said with an extremely solemn face. Although the other party had only touched a trace of the supreme threshold, there was already an essential gap. Double pupil robbery light. Buzz. In the eyes of the double pupil emperor, various runes and divine laws kept changing and interweaving, and finally, 2 great destructive lights burst out and rushed straight into the world-destroying cage. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 208. Boom. These two great lights of destruction, like an uninhabited land, directly penetrated the cage of world destruction, but they only penetrated it. After the light of great destruction entered the cage, those terrifying visions that seemed to destroy the world were like hungry wolves seeing the fat sheep, swarming up and gnawing them all. After being supplemented and nourished by these two lights of destruction, the power of these visions became even more terrifying. Not bad, you can actually penetrate my cage. The mythical emperor of the outer realm, Naimi, had a hint of admiration flashing in his eyes. He now completely regarded the Chongtong emperor as a descendant. It's not over yet. Forbidden Avenue, the power of double eyes. The Chongtong emperor roared angrily, and endless immortal light circulated on his body. The power of the Chong pupil continued to gather, and the 12 forbidden avenues emerged, turning into a ball of light and sinking into the Chong pupil emperor's right hand. And countless creatures, after seeing the 12 forbidden avenues of the Chongtong emperor, their eyes were full of shock and horror. Holy shit, am I not dazzled? 12 forbidden avenues, not 12 avenues. Didn't you say that Emperor Chongtong only has 11 forbidden avenues? The perfect origin of the great emperor, this is the perfect origin of the great emperor. Who in the fairyland can be like this? No, this is not congenital, but acquired. An old man who was about to die spoke slowly after he came to his senses. The day after tomorrow. Is there any difference between nature and nurture? Indeed, I once heard of a secret method that can add a forbidden avenue to the origin of the emperor after becoming an emperor. Hey, this is so humming scary. Then, the Chongtong emperor slowly pushed his right hand, and an invincible true body about 10,000 feet tall appeared behind him. He punched out, as if he could shatter all worlds and reverse the world. Boom. Under this punch, a large piece of the cage collapsed, and then countless strands of deep black were destroyed, and the fist edge dissipated the flames that burned for eternity. However, in the end, this punch was dissolved and disintegrated by various terrifying phenomena inside the cage. Damn it, such a punch didn't break this, pig pen. Is this great prisoner's magic really so terrifying? Why does it feel like it can't be broken no matter what? Haha, you underestimate the word supreme, and you also underestimate the 10 secret arts of the outer world that are performed by Supreme. Seeing this, the creatures in the immortal realm swallowed with great difficulty. Oh, it's still not enough. Is it just this? If so, then I will be too disappointed in you. A look of disappointment flashed in Emperor Annihilation's eyes. After all, he was not the first generation. Senior, of course, it's more than that. Double pupils, open. The Emperor of Double Eyes roared angrily, his eyes kept opening and closing, and life and death continued to flow. At this moment, the real Double Eyes, the Invincible Eye technique. Boom. A gray and white shockwave swept across the entire vast universe, shocking countless fighting emperors. Afterwards, the power of the Chong pupil emperor surged again like a volcano erupting. His eyes had completely changed. There were 2 pupils in each eye. They were extremely strange, one gray and one white, as if representing life and death. At this moment, the double-pupiled emperor's body is constantly wrapped with gray and white divine light, and the fairy light is overflowing, as if he is the master of life and death. The double pupils open and close, and the heaven and earth are extinguished. This is the first and most profound impression that countless emperors have on the first-generation emperor with double eyes. The double pupils themselves represent the extreme constitution of death and rebirth. Therefore, after facing this power, Emperor Nirvana did not have the slightest fear, but instead had a ray of memory. That's right, it's this kind of breath that I will never forget. Then, a black spear filled with charm, engraved with countless runes, and full of lines appeared in the hands of the Chongtong Emperor. This is the Chongtong Emperor's natal imperial weapon, the sky-breaking black spear. The flow of life and death is broken. This double-eyed power of life and death was attached to the black spear. Immediately, the double-eyed emperor used all his strength to stab out the spear. The spear came out like a dragon, piercing the dust of chaos and thousands of worlds. All matter along the road turned into nothingness. Boom! An extremely dazzling halo gradually expanded from one point, and finally spread to the vast universe. Countless emperors who were fighting each other all used their sanity to resist this terrifying residual power. The moment they arrived at the eternal barrier, the entire eternal barrier was shaken to varying degrees. At this moment, countless pairs of eyes of the immortal creatures are staring at this moment. It's so terrifying. As expected of the Emperor of Double Eyes, he deserves to be called the Invincible Eye Technique. With the power of myth, he can defeat a mythical emperor who can touch the supreme. This deed is enough to be passed down through the ages and shine in all worlds. Emperor Chongtong, you must break this prison, because you are my belief. Emperor with double eyes, invincible. The halo gradually dissipated, and the cage that was originally enough to cover the fairyland has disappeared. When countless creatures saw this scene, their faces turned red, their eyes were filled with divine light, and they screamed crazily. Ha 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 ha, it's broken, it's broken, it's really broken. You know, this is a blow that touches the supreme myth emperor, and it is also one of the 10 secret arts of the outer domain. The realm of the emperor of double pupils has not yet reached the myth. I can only say that it is like a little cow riding a flying sword, awesome and awesome. Double pupils, invincible, double pupils, invincible. Pa, pa, pa. The Emperor of Desolation kept clapping. Not bad, you are very good, you are indeed worthy of the invincible talent of double pupils, but, it is still far from enough. The conversation changed, and then, an extremely sharp light flashed in the eyes of the Emperor of Desolation. Forget it, let you really see what the supreme power is. After the words were finished, the Emperor of Desolation exuded an extremely strange and terrifying aura all over his body, and then stretched out his old and dry fingers, and lightly tapped the Emperor of Double Pupils. Puff! In an instant, the Emperor of Chongtong spat out a mouthful of blood, and a huge hole appeared on his body, with blood constantly oozing out. After a long time, the Emperor of Chongtong reacted, and then a stream of immortal light poured into the wound, constantly repairing it. Afterwards, the eyes of the Emperor of Chongtong kept trembling, and he couldn't react to the finger just now. It's not that he can't react, but he seems to have fallen into a state of stillness and emptiness of consciousness, but Chongtong can be sure that this is definitely not the method of Emperor Shi to stop the flow of time, which will only be more terrifying. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Benpao de la Chang. Chapter 209. On the other side of the deep space battlefield. Emperor Void, Emperor Xuanhuan, and Emperor Time, the three myth emperors, have also found their own opponents. Hee, why not compete to see who kills the fastest? Emperor Void said with a smile. You are simply bullying too much. I will tear you into pieces. Haha, you are so arrogant, you need to pay the price of your life. After hearing the speech of Emperor Void, the three myth emperors on the outside world said very coldly, what do they think of themselves, who is the hunter and who is the prey, it hasn't started yet. Humph, childish. Emperor Time said disdainfully after hearing it, and the next moment, he directly drew out his own natal emperor sword and fought against the myth emperor of the outside world, fearing that he would be a step slower and couldn't grab the first kill. You are really good at talking, as foul-mouthed as De Huang, I will tear your dog mouth apart first. On the other side, De Huang, who was still fighting, twitched his dog ears, and he seemed to hear someone scolding him. The way of time is fleeting, kill. The Emperor of Time directly used his time body against the Myth Emperor in front of him, without reservation, and started with a big move. Bitch. Damn, don't be a bitch. The Emperor of Nothingness and Emperor Xuanhuan cursed, and then rushed up quickly. The law of time emerged again. But after all, the opponent is the Myth Emperor. Although he can't keep the time flow around the opponent still, there is still 1/1000th of a second, which makes this foreign Myth Emperor stunned for a moment. He really didn't expect that this Emperor of Time would be so unethical. When he used a big move, shouldn't he try it first, or warm up? But, it was this 1/1000th of a second that made the Emperor of Time's eyes condense and caught a flaw. The battle between myths is often like this. A weakness like a grain of dust can determine the victory or defeat and life and death. Emperor Shi, holding the immortal sword in his left hand, burst out with the sword intent that shocked the ages. The sword light shone through the sky. Like the master of all swords, the immortal sword seemed to feel the will of the master, and kept roaring out the sound of swords and clanging. After a moment, a sword was swung out, and it was gone forever. Crack! Ah! After a scream, the lower body of this Myth Emperor was directly chopped into nothingness by the sword light, but in the next second, this foreign Myth Emperor was restored to its original state. After all, the Myth Emperor can be resurrected as long as there is a trace of soul. In a sense, it is immortal and eternal. Emperor Shi, you are looking for death, the dignified Myth Emperor, actually attacked me. The Myth Emperor said in an extremely cold voice. His voice was like the nine nether hell. Are you okay, big fool? This is a life and death battle. Could it be that we have to test it first? Your brain is broken. Why is it so troublesome when you can solve it with one move? Emperor Shi said sarcastically. Enough, you keep cursing. What a cheap request, you big idiot. Ah, Time Emperor, I want you dead. Mythology, dethroned, reign supreme. The Outer Realm Myth Emperor roared, and in an instant, Time Emperor was drawn into an unknown space. At this moment, in this space, there was only darkness and nothingness, no time rules, no physical matter, as if it was a forgotten world. Haha, Time Emperor, let's see how you break my domain and step into my domain. I am the master of this world. Then, the Outer Realm Myth Emperor stretched out his right hand and gently drew a line at the void. In an instant, darkness surged and nothingness dominated. Cross Nirvana / When the words fell, the entire space trembled continuously, and then, a huge black cross, with the meaning of nothingness, rushed straight to Time Emperor, as if to seal Time Emperor in it forever. Haha, let's try it, error / When the Emperor of Time saw this, he immediately mobilized all his strength and concentrated it on the sword in his hand. Boom! Then, the two sides started another unreserved war. Let's go too. No problem. Seeing this, the Void Emperor and the Xuanhuan Human Emperor stopped talking nonsense and started fighting directly. 7 Burial Secrets. Void devours the world. Haha, I've long wanted to meet the leader of the Immortal clan. 10 Dark Secrets. At this moment, countless terrifying explosions in the vast universe came into view, countless regions were directly beaten back to a chaotic state, and the laws of the universe were almost broken. Seeing these scenes, countless immortal creatures swallowed their saliva unconsciously. If it weren't for the protection of the eternal barrier, I'm afraid they would be directly turned into ashes by the terrifying explosion aftermath. In comparison, the battles between those quasi-emperors and the other two world armies seemed so pale and powerless. But despite this, the entire 10 immortal realms continued to tremble as if an earthquake had occurred. This is the great war among the emperors. It's too terrible, too terrible. Ordinary creatures have no chance of survival at all. We are lucky, but unlucky at the same time. Yes, fortunately, we can witness this level of horrific battle with our own eyes. Unfortunately, there are only two results, either alive or dead. Soon, as time went by, the emperors from the outer realm gradually fell. For a moment, the vast universe was like a ruin, with blood mixed with broken limbs and arms, a scene of hell, which was daunting. As for the emperors of the fairyland, so far, none of them have fallen. After all, the things they chose from Li Bai are the most suitable for them, and they also improve their realm. These few points of improvement are enough for them to protect themselves, unless they encounter more terrifying existences. The number of creatures on both sides is constantly decreasing, and most of the corpses have fallen into the bottomless skyfall. 10,000 years later, they have become a pile of dry bones. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Benpao de la Chang. Chapter 210. And the three original Sin Elders also started a century battle with the half-step supreme from the outside world. Haha, come on, original Sin, the grudge between us must be settled. I want to see if your original sin is really as the world says. We also have the same intention. Me too. Me too. Original Sin's true body, show up. The three original Sin Elders roared, and suddenly, the seven original Sin's true bodies slowly emerged. At the same time, in the war between the two worlds, the strength of the original Sin's true body is also growing. The various negative emotions of the creatures in the two worlds below are just the best nourishment for them. Original Sin, rebellion, and chaos. The three original Sins shouted loudly, and then the seven original Sins followed and went up together. This is a terrifying killing move that is enough to destroy an era. At this moment, the battles of all the emperors are not as exciting as 1/10,000th of the original Sin Elders. Come on. Eternal Finger. True Demon Chaos. 10 Directions Blood Prison. Boom. In the blink of an eye, the laws of the universe completely collapsed, countless chains of order turned into dust in an instant, the dark void boiled, and void fragments continued to burst out. The entire vast universe returned to the chaotic era again. The world changed, the universe turned upside down, and countless big stars condensed from chaotic dust reappeared again. Fortunately, the battle between several people went deep into the universe, otherwise, those emperors would probably be gone before the battle was over. Look, the whole universe seems different. Chaos Sky, this is, Chaos State. I didn't expect that the battle between half-step supremes could make a world return to the chaotic era directly. What if it is the real supreme? I am afraid that the whole universe, or even the eternal barrier, will be broken. On the other side, the battle between Emperor Changtong and Emperor Jimmy was also stared at by countless creatures, but they all looked confused and unbelievable. The pain is far from over. Seeing this, Emperor Jimmy showed a cruel smile, and then, again and again, he stretched out his fingers and tapped. Puff. 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 Every time the body was pierced, there was a gorgeous blood flower blooming in the dark and cold universe. More and more blood holes covered the whole body of the Emperor of Double Pupils. At this moment, he was like a puppet in the hands of the Emperor of Destruction, who was trampled at will. The Emperor of Double Pupils had no time and could not stop it. I don't know how many times the Emperor of Destruction pointed before he stopped. At this moment, the Emperor of Double Pupils had a dull look in his eyes, and his body was stained with his own blood. He looked miserable and did not have the invincible power that the Emperor of Double Pupils should have. The Double Pupils also disappeared under such an attack and returned to their original appearance. Not only that, in the following few fingers of the Emperor of Destruction, there was a trace of supreme meaning, which prevented the wound of the Emperor of Double Pupils from healing, which also made the Emperor of Double Pupils weaker and weaker. The ending was like this. Unlike what many people imagined, the Emperor of Double Pupils was defeated thoroughly and cleanly. However, the Void Emperor and his men did not come to support, because they found out in confusion that even though the double pupil Emperor seemed to be badly injured, the Desolate Emperor seemed to have deliberately avoided all the vital points and the Emperor's origin, which was more like a training for the double pupil Emperor. However, all the creatures in the immortal realm did not understand this. They covered their mouths with their eyes, as if their faith was shattered. They did not expect that the double pupil Emperor, who had invincible double pupils, would be defeated so badly that he had no power to fight back. They could accept the defeat of the double pupil Emperor, but they could not accept that the double pupil Emperor was defeated so badly that he had no power to resist and was slaughtered at will like an ant. No. Impossible, that's the Emperor with double pupils, the invincible Emperor with double pupils, how could he be defeated so miserably? It's fake, it must be fake, these two must be acting. It seems that the gap between myth and supreme cannot be made up by invincible talent, supreme is always supreme, even if only a trace is touched. Then, Emperor Jimmy looked at the miserable and embarrassed Emperor with double pupils in front of him, and said slowly, "Is this what you call invincible talent? The gap between us cannot be made up by talent. Did I really lose? Will I really never catch up with the first generation, but..." The Emperor with double pupils raised his head and looked at Emperor Jimmy, his eyes full of confusion, as if he denied all the efforts he had made in the past tens of millions of years. Afterwards, Emperor with double pupils carefully thought about whether the first generation could withstand the attack of Emperor Jimmy if he and the first generation were switched, but in the end, the answer was yes, the first generation could resist it. "You have already lost. I think from the battle just now, you also know that if I want to kill you, it is only a snap of my fingers. You should now understand how big the gap is between you and that first generation. He was able to kill the half-step supreme with a myth, but what about you? In my opinion, your desire to get close to, or even surpass, is nothing but a pipe dream." The great Emperor Jimmy kept saying such negative words to the Emperor Changtong, and his eyes were full of disappointment. He, so that's it? Senior, please kill me. Then, the Emperor with double pupils had death in his eyes, and he slowly said to the Emperor of Destruction. When countless creatures below heard this, they looked at the man covered in blood in disbelief, as if they didn't understand that this sentence would be said by an invincible person with double pupils. It seems that my expectations of you have finally failed. You disappoint me. In my opinion, you don't deserve to have double pupils. You also humiliated the glory of the invincible double pupils. Alas, now I don't even bother to kill you, I'm afraid it will dirty my hands." The Emperor of Destruction slowly closed his eyes. He felt that killing the current Emperor with double pupils was an insult to himself. Hearing this, the Emperor with double pupils laughed at himself, spread out his bloody hands, and stared at them carefully. "I once thought that I had double pupils and mastered the 12 forbidden ways, so I could catch up with the first generation, or even surpass them. Now I think I was too arrogant. I didn't understand how weak I was. Warm ti.